Welcome back to another Champion Deep Dive, and today we're talking about Ikaris. He's got Energize, Protection, Energy Burst Damage, Incinerate with the ability to refresh or straight up double your stacks to convert into a massive attack that'll leave you eternally grateful. Let's get into it. Ikaris enters the contest with an always active immunity to Incinerate, Shock, and 20% resistance to all poison effects. Also, his basic attacks deal energy damage, bypassing physical resistance. When struck by a medium attack, Ikaris inflicts a power detonation debuff lasting 15 seconds. If power detonation expires naturally, the opponent receives a burst of energy damage based on 200% of modified attack. If the opponent launches a special attack, this debuff is removed with no penalty. This has a cooldown of 10 seconds. Now, whenever either champion is struck by a light attack, Ikaris gains 1 Energize buff. This also includes blocked attacks. Each Energize buff lasts indefinitely until consumed. And while 1 or more Energize buffs are active, Ikaris gains 35% combat power rate. As a defender, the potency of Energize is reduced by 50%. Now, while 5 or more Energize buffs are active, if Ikaris' power is reduced for any reason, he inflicts the opponent with a burst of energy damage per Energize buff. Keep in mind, this has no effect against Mystics. Also, all special attacks consume 10 Energize buffs. Now, Ikaris' Incinerate debuffs deal energy damage over 22 seconds, and maxes out at 225 stacks. That's right, 225! But we'll definitely get more into that in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about his heavy attack. This inflicts the opponent with Incinerate debuffs equal to 50% of the amount of Energize buffs stacked, and removes 1 Energize buff. Not only that, heavy attacks pause all Incinerate debuffs for 8 seconds. Now, let's check out his special attacks. The Special 1. Each hit inflicts 3 Incinerate debuffs, for a total of 12 for the entire special. Also, each hit refreshes all Incinerate debuffs on the opponent. Now, if Ikaris has 10 Energize buffs active, he gains a protection buff for 30 seconds, preventing Ikaris from taking more than 5% of max health from a single hit. Keep in mind, this does not apply to the opponent's special 3 attacks. If you have less than 10 Energize buffs active, however, Ikaris gains an armor buff increasing armor rating for 30 seconds. With the Special 2, this doubles all Incinerate debuffs. Quite satisfyingly, I might add. However, if Ikaris has no Incinerate debuffs on the opponent, he applies 10. Now, if Ikaris has 10 Energize buffs, on activation he gains an unblockable buff for 8 seconds, giving you agency to launch that special without an opening, and being able to follow up on a blocking opponent. But if he has less than 10 Energize buffs, he gains a physical resistance buff for 30 seconds. The Special 3. This is a true damage attack that applies a bonus Fury buff per unique buff currently active on Ikaris. Not only that, each Incinerate debuff on the opponent grants increased attack rating for this attack. This will consume all but 10 Incinerate debuffs on the opponent. Now, let's check out the signature ability. When awakened, Ikaris gains an always active energy backblast. Each time the opponent tries to apply an effect on Ikaris that he's immune to, he inflicts an energy vulnerability debuff, decreasing energy resistance for 10 seconds, maxing at 10 stacks, allowing Ikaris to deal more damage, especially with his Incinerate debuffs. Now, let's take him out for a spin in the champion rotation. For shorter fights, build up to just under the Special 2. This should go relatively quick with the increased combat power rate you get from the Energized buffs. Make sure to use light attack ending combos to quickly get you to 10 Energized buff stacks. When ready, launch a Special 1 to inflict 12 stacks of Incinerate, and gain a protection buff from the 10 stacks of Energized buffs. From there, build back up to just under a Special 2. This time, below 10 stacks of Energized buffs, and launch the Special 1. This will refresh the Incinerate timer, and gains an armor up buff. Next, work up to the Special 2, peppering in heavy attacks to pause the Incinerate timer, and add more Incinerate debuffs. When ready, launch the Special 2 to double the opponent's Incinerate stack. This also gives you a resistance buff if you launched below 10 Energized buffs. From here, work your way up to the Special 3. When ready, launch the Special 3 attack. You should have 3 unique buffs to fuel your attack for extra damage and a swift end to the fight. Now, for longer fights, you're looking to build as many Incinerates as you can. This requires a balance of pausing and refreshing Incinerates to net you the most possible before launching your Special 3 attack. To start off, launch the Special 1 to gain 12 Incinerates, followed by building up and pausing them with the heavy attack. Build to the Special 2 to double up those Incinerate stacks. Now, depending on how much time you have left on the timer, you decide between your Special 1 or going for another Special 2. This can vary based on your opponent and the nodes you're facing. Now, always remember to pause the Incinerates with your heavy attacks whenever you can. To maximize your Incinerate stacks, launch one more Special 1 to reset your timer and give you time to get to the Special 3. Now, some may want to try for another Special 2 to double up one last time, but this might end up expiring your stacks and thus flying too close to the sun. But for this example, we're coasting to the Special 3 and reaping the payoff. Now, let's check out some best uses. One of the best uses for Ikaris is going up against nodes and champions that inflict Incinerate debuffs or effects like Backblast, due to his immunity and his energy Backblast ability. Because Ikaris can stack a very high amount of debuffs via Incinerate, the Despair Mastery is a natural choice to easily affect the opponent's healing with a single level. Opponents with high health pools will find it hard to keep up with Ikaris and his massive damage potential. Now, these aren't the only uses for Ikaris out there. Are you already theory crafting? Where would you use him? Sound off in the comments and let's discuss. Now, let's check out some notable synergies. Fateful Friends. With Iron Man and Doctor Strange on the team, Ikaris reapplies 30% Incinerate debuffs whenever they expire. With Iron Man, while Arc Overload is active, place an Incinerate debuff on the opponent, dealing 100% attack rating as energy damage per second. And with Doctor Strange, when his weakness debuff expires, he gains a protection buff for 10 seconds, preventing damage of more than 5% of max health from a single hit. Hard-headed. With Unstoppable Colossus or Juggernaut on the team, Ikaris gains bonus base duration on Incinerate debuffs by 10 seconds. This will give you a little shielding from getting too close to the sun and give you more time to stack up those Incinerate debuffs. This effect stacks if both Synergy members are present. With Unstoppable Colossus, when gaining an Unstoppable buff, he also triggers a 50% Fury buff for 15 seconds. And with Juggernaut, while unstoppable, he gains 100% combat power rate on heavy attacks. And finally, Lords of Energy. With Cyclops or Black Bolt on the team, Ikaris gains one bonus stack of Incinerate debuffs on the opponent when launching a Special 1. This effect also stacks if both Synergy members are present, making that Incinerate ramp up so much faster. With Cyclops, he gains 25% Fury when inflicting an Armor Break debuff. This maxes at 4 stacks and lasts for 10 seconds. And with Black Bolt, he gains an Energized buff granting 100% combat power rate for 4 seconds when a personal stun debuff is applied. Bringing teammates that have synergies that extend buff duration, like Captain America Infinity War, Black Bolt, or Mr. Fantastic for example, make it more possible for you to have more buffs active to power your special 3. Now, did you see a synergy that's burned into your mind? Thinking of a new synergy team? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss. Thank you for watching this champion deep dive for Ikaris. Are you ready? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you like the video and want to see more, click subscribe, like, comment, and share. And remember, we'll see you in the battle realm.